Hello class, we are still working on the quadratic formula. So the essential question is, how do I apply the quadratic formula? My learning intention, I am learning to solve quadratics using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is over here. So it says on the two warm-up questions, find the discriminant and state the number of solutions. You're not even solving, you're just going to tell me how many solutions there are. So, pause the video and try to do the two warm-up questions on your own. Well, I hope you tried. If you look at the first one, it is not set equal to 0, so I have to add x squared to both sides. You notice how I tried not to put it under the 5x because they are not like terms. So 0 is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 20. Identify A, B, and C. A is 1, B is negative 5, and C is 20. Put it into your discriminant. Remember, the discriminant is what is found underneath the radical. So, negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 20. Now, just simply because we use this bigger numbers, it is easier to quickly find the answer on with your calculator. So negative 5 squared minus 5 times 1 times 20, and I get negative 55. How many solutions will I have? If you said no real solutions, you are correct, because at this point you do not know how to take the square root of a negative number. Okay, for the next one, if you didn't try on the first one, please pause the video and see if you can do this one on your own. Identify A, B, and C. Put it into your discriminant. Okay, in this case, it's just as quick for me to do it in my head as to get the calculator out. Negative 4 squared is positive 16, minus 4 times 1 is 4 times 4 is 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. How many solutions? One solution. Okay, now we're going to solve these quadratics. We're going to use the quadratic formula, even though you could also use the diamond method. But for the practice, we're going to do the quadratic formula. Then if you want to, you can do the diamond method to check. So, identify A, B, and C. A is 1, B is negative 8, C is negative 9. Put it into your discriminant. Negative 8 quantity squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 9. Okay. Parenthesis, negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9. Now, would I have had to put in times 1? No, but it just is quicker for me. Okay, so I've got 28. What do I do next? Square root 28. 28 is not a perfect square. So, 28, I can divide it by 2, I get 14. I can divide it by 2, I get 7. 7 is prime. Divide by 7, I get 1. I've got a pair of 2's that I can bring outside. So this is equal to positive or negative 2 square root of 7. Okay, now I've done all the work. I've got all this done. I just have to worry about finding the opposite of b, adding 2 square root of 7, then dividing by 2a the first time. Second time I will subtract. So let's start out. The opposite of b. b is negative 8. The opposite is positive 8. Add it to 2 square root of 7. Divide by 2 times 1. Okay, if I've got this, I need to look and see if I've got anything I can factor out. Well, yes I do. 2 goes into all of these evenly. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. I've eliminated my denominator. This becomes 4 plus the square root of 7 over 1. Now at this point in time, I can realize with the square root of 7, I can make it into one equation by putting the plus or minus into my equation. It is irrational, so you can get a decimal approximation, but you have to leave it under the square root to have the actual answer. Okay, let's look at the next one. Is it set equal to 0? No. So what do I have to do? I'm going to add 5 to both sides. I get 2x squared plus 12x plus 5 equals 0. Identify A, B, and C. A is equal to 2, B is equal to 12, C is equal to 5. Find my discriminant. 12 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5. And I get 104. 104 is not a perfect square, so what do I do next? I've got to take the square root of 104. Okay, so 104 is divisible by 2, so I divide by 2, I get 52. 52 is divisible by 2. Now, just to make sure my math is correct, okay, I get 26. 26 is divisible by 2, I get 13. 13 is prime, so I get 13 and 1. Okay, I've got one pair of 2's I can bring out. Then 2 times 13, which is 26, will stay underneath. So this is positive or negative 2 square root of 26. Once again, we've got the radical, so we know we can solve this with one equation that has the plus or minus sign in it. The opposite of b, negative 12. Plus or minus 2 square root of 26 all over 2 times 2. Do I have a common factor? Yeah, I can divide 2 out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. 2 divided by 2 is 1 here. Okay, now, even though I could factor out 2 here, I won't because I'll leave it as a fraction. So this is negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 26 divided by 2. Okay, if you feel comfortable, pause the video and see if you can do the next one on your own. If you are still not quite sure, that's okay. Be thinking about the process, please. Step 1, set equal to 0. Five m squared plus m minus 1 is equal to 0. Identify A, B, and C. A is 5, B is 1, C is negative 1. Put it into your discriminant, and that should be negative 1. No, that's positive 1. I looked up there and I looked at the wrong one. Okay, so 1 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 1. I get 21. Square root of 21. Well, the only factors of 21 are 3 and 7, so that is the square root of 21. Put it into our formula. The opposite of b. b is 1. The opposite of 1 is negative 1. Plus or minus the square root of 21 all over 2 times 5, 2a. I have nothing can be simplified, so all I have to do is multiply 2 times 5 for my denominator. Negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 21 all over 10 is my answer. Okay, pause the video now and see if you can do the next one on your own. You've got 2 you can try on your own. Pause the video. Step 1 is to set it up equal to 0. If all you feel comfortable doing is doing that, pause and do that much to begin with. Okay, to set it equal to 0, subtract x, subtract 7. I end up with 4x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. 4 minus 7 is negative 3. Find A, B, and C. A is 4, B is negative 2, C is negative 3. Put it into your discriminant. Negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 3. And I get 52. Okay, 52 divided by 2, I get 26. Divided by 2, I get 13. Divided by 13, I get 1. I also could have looked up here and found the same thing and just ignored that first. So, I've got a pair of 2's I can bring out. 13 stays underneath, plus or minus 2 square root of 13. Now, time to put it all together. What is the opposite of b? b is a negative 2. The opposite is positive 2. Plus or minus 2 square root of 13 divided by 2 times 4. Can I factor out anything? Yes, I can factor out 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this is 1 plus or minus the square root of 13 divided by 4. And we're done. Now, if you have not done it yet this time, you really need to try to do the next one on your own. Pause the video and think of your steps. Step 1, z equal to 0. Step 2, find your a, b, and c. Step 3, find your discriminant. Step 4, square root your discriminant. Step 5, put it all together in the formula. So pause the video and see if you understand how. Step 1. Set it equal to 0. I have x squared minus 12x plus 4 is equal to 0. Identify a, b, and c. A is equal to 1. B is equal to negative 12. C is equal to 4. Find your discriminant. Negative 12 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4. Okay, I end up with 136. I need to take the square root of 136. 136 is even. I can divide by 2. I get 68. 68 is even. I can divide by 2 again. I get 34. 34 is even. I can divide by 2 again. I get 17. 17 is prime. I've done my factoring. I've got one pair of 2's to bring out. And then 2 times 17, which is 34, is left underneath. Okay, now, what does this look like when we put it all together? The opposite of b, the opposite of negative 12 is positive 12, plus or minus 2 square root of 34 all over 2 times 1. What can I factor out? They all have a factor of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. My denominator is gone because 1 times 1 is 1, and I don't need to worry about dividing by 1. It becomes 6 plus or minus the square root of 34, and we are done. So, how do you know when you're successful? When you can apply the quadratic formula to solve quadratics. Once again, quadratic formula.